Option 3 provides time to analyze the data and share with stakeholders. It addresses possible issues between family and school. There's an accountability is being upheld while not necessarily in a stringent way. The possible limitations of that is the response back from the families you can't really guarantee, as well as all of this is going to take time. It's not going to be an immediate fix. Options 4 and 5 kind of have a singular focus. One is kind of focused on managing the staff, while the other is more focused on addressing families. Both of these provide kind of a nice focus for your data and improvement process. However, the possible downsides in considering these plans are they don't consider all the stakeholders, and they could leave issues unresolved. I feel the best option would be option 3. This would be to reflect on the circumstances that we have. With the change in the community dynamic, I definitely feel that you have to involve the families in your decision making about what to do. You have to get those surveys out and really reach into the community to see what's going on and what has changed. Teachers seem to kind of be in a either lax form of record keeping or playing by their own rules, and might also need to see what's going on there and what has made that change in the last years. You would also need to consider student achievement data as well as the student services that are being impacted by all of this. I definitely feel like in looking at these student examples as well as the changes in community, option 3 will give you the most balanced look at what's going on in this school. As far as implementation of this plan, I think the best way to implement option 3 would be to have a very transparent implementation. So communicate with families, communicate with teachers what's going on. Definitely have it data driven. Those surveys would go out first, and looking at that data would be the first step. I would like to use the CFPI model, even though it's not really looking at student achievement. We're looking at mostly student attendance. It does tie into achievement. The thing I wanted to really focus on is the undertones of that model is frequent, continuous, and increasingly concrete and precise dialogue by collaborate school teams, and then it's informed by data always. So it's kind of the circular pattern, so you're never just kind of doing it once and going. Definitely stakeholders need to be involved. There are considerations as far as how are they feeling in the school, what's going on, what would they like to see happening, are there changes we could make. Definitely having those surveys get out and being able to consult with this, not just the families, but the teachers as well, because obviously something's happening in this school that needs to be addressed. In looking at implementing the decision, I would look at it as phases. The first phase would be to collect perception data. So send that out to teachers, send that out to families, get a good idea of what everybody is feeling about the school and how the interactions with schools are. After that, I would pull all the data together. So again, using that CFPI steps 1 through 4 from the School of Improvement in Maryland, the first step would be the orientation step. So that's being sure everybody understands the data we're looking at and how to find it. So I would like to do this with the whole staff. And that would mean the whole staff would understand where to find this data and what we're looking at. Step 2 would be the question step. So you pose the question of what can the data answer. In this case, we're looking at attendance rates. So what can our data answer about our school's attendance? That could mean what can it answer about how it's affecting student achievement? Why is school attendance getting to a low here? There could be several questions that you could answer from that data. The next would be starting to look at patterns. Now, We could do this class-wide patterns. You could kind of break it into mini groups by grade levels, but looking for those patterns of what's going on. I really feel like this step would be beneficial, especially for those teachers and coaches who may not see the impacts of their requests for missing school and what that does to other teachers and classrooms. And then the fourth would be an action step. So then now that we've seen the patterns, this could be reteaching. And this doesn't mean just reteaching students. This means as teachers, because this is a problem with attendance, it's a whole, all the stakeholders are involved, teachers, students, and families. They all need to be informed of what's going to be happening and why it's happening. Phase 2 and 3 would look a little different than phase 1. So now that we have our plan and we have our data, we're going to analyze the current communication that's going on within the building between school and families, and then identify those points of improvement and improve them. This could mean, and I would definitely want to provide an in-service to teachers on attendance protocol and expectations, and part of that would be communicating to families if students are missing, and especially chronically missing. And then communicate with families' expectations. That means sending notes home, making phone calls in the language that they need in order to have that frequent communication so everybody's on the same page. Phase 3 would be collect data again and review with staff. Celebrate those glows and talk about where we can still grow. And then address any needed issues where needed. So obviously nothing ever goes according to plan 100% of the time, so there will be some issues that just need to be one-on-one addressed. Plan B would really be looking at the data. If nothing is improving, we can look at the changes we've made and see if that has adjusted anything else or what we haven't looked at that could possibly be a contributing factor. This could be more guidelines for teachers, boosts in communications with families. It could also include having some family events just to get families in the building and invested in their students' school and education. Then I have my reference page. Thank you so much.